Okay, so today you can see that we're going to do areas from scale drawings. So we're going to kind of apply what we've been talking about with scale to finding area, which is something that you've been doing for a couple years in math now. The important thing to know here is that the order really matters. And I'll kind of show you why in a second, but I want to do scale each of the sides before I find the area. So I can't do it the other way around and do area first and then scale. And like I said, when we do the first problem, I'll show you why that's the case. So if you're not already on this page in your notebook, go ahead and pause and get there. Okay, so for this page, there's little text boxes for you to type in. So we're going to go ahead and type this math because it's somewhat basic, so hopefully it should be pretty easy. So when you click in the text box, you can delete the question mark. And we're going to do the width first. So we have width and height, so therefore it would make sense for 3.5 to be the width. And to do the times, I'm going to hold shift and the number 8. Because remember we said goodbye to x for multiplication last year in 6th grade because it looks like the variable x. So when we do algebra, that makes it tricky. So we'll use the dot for multiply. So 3.5 times, if I look at the scale, I always need to check, is it down to number 1? It is. So therefore, I can just use the 5 as my scale factor. So 3.5 times 5 equals, I'm going to type that in my calculator, 3.5 times 5 equals, and I get 17.5. Oh, went down to the next line, so I'm just going to grab the edge of my text box and make it bigger so it fits. Okay? For the height, we're going to do it really similar. It's just this time, I need a different number. So height is going to be 2.1. Again, shift and the number 8 times. And then I need the scale factor. So down here, it's still the 1, so it's still going to be 5. Equals, so put in my calculator, 2.1 times 5 equals 10.5. Okay? So now I'm going to use those numbers to find the area. So the area of a rectangle is just its base times its height, or its width times its height there. So I'm going to do 17.5 times 10.5 equals, and when I put that in my calculator, I get 183.75. And so that's going to be my answer. There we go. For the first problem. So if you look right now, if we had just done area, we would have done 2.1 times 3.5 and gotten the area, and then multiplied by 5. You would have just used the number 5 one time. But when we did width and height, each of them got multiplied by 5. So it was like using the number 5 twice. That's why we have to do the dimensions first before area, because we need everything to get multiplied by the 5, all the dimensions. Number 2, really similar problem here. We have a different rectangle and a different scale, but the ideas are going to be the same. So I'm going to start with the width. So that would be my 6.8 times, I'm going to multiply by the scale factor. Nice, it's already down to 1 for me, so I can just use the 5.5. And I'm going to type that in my calculator. So 6.8 times 5.5, and I get 37.4. Oops. As my answer there. Then for the height, I'm going to do 1, because that's my dimension right here, times 6.8. And, oops, not 6.8. What am I thinking? I need to use my scale factor here, which is 5.5. Oof, good thing I double checked myself there. So this is nice when I show my work on top of itself because I can see, okay, 5 lines up with 5, 5.5 lines up with 5.5. A good way to catch when I make a mistake. Equals, this one I don't have to use my calculator because anything times 1 is just that number, so it's going to be 5.5. So area, again, it's a rectangle, so I'm going to use my formula, which is base times height, or width times height. So we're going to do 37.4 times 5.5, and we get 205.7. So here's a chance to check for yourself. Oops. Do you kind of understand what we've just been talking about? So right now, I want you to go ahead and try number 3 before me. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can do number 3 before I show you how to do it. Pause now, go. Okay, so let's check, see how you did. For width, you should have done 6 times 12.5, which is 75. For height, you should have done 18 times 12.5, and we get 225. And so for your area, we got 75 times 225 equals 16875. So 16,875. Now, all the dimensions should have been labeled what they had over here. So they would have been labeled, feet or miles, feet, things like that from the problem. And then, of course, our area is that squared. But that's your basic idea.